You open up your fridge at 11 p.m. You're not even hungry, but you're scanning the shelves anyway. A can of soda, some leftover pizza, a cup of yogurt. If you showed this spread to your deep ancestors, they would starve before they ate any of it. To them, none of this looks like food. Modern food manufacturers isolated the specific molecules your body needs to survive, namely sugar and fat, and disguised them. Almost every packaged item on those shelves is just pure calories wearing a different, colorful costume. That late-night snack is a successful execution of a 3-million-year-old survival program, one hardwired into your brain for a world of daily starvation. Roughly 3 million years ago, your earliest ancestors were far from the top of the food chain. We were scavengers, living on whatever scraps we could find out on the exposed African savanna. When a lion took down an antelope, it ate the muscle and organs first. Then the hyenas moved in, crushing the ribs and smaller bones. By the time humans crept up to the carcass, all that remained were thick leg bones, bones too dense for even a hyena's jaws to break. We had the one tool no other animal possessed, hands that could grip heavy stones. We used these blunt rocks to smash open those seemingly unbreakable thigh bones. Inside those bones was a gray, slick, dripping prize, bone marrow. We scooped it out with our fingers and ate it raw. If we found an intact skull, we cracked that open too, pulling out almost a pound of solid brain tissue. Brain and marrow are essentially pure fat. In a brutal, barren landscape, fat is the absolute most calorie-dense material an animal can consume. Finding a skull was hitting the prehistoric jackpot. Day after day, generation after generation, this desperate search for calories wired our biology. Your body still treats fat like an extreme rarity because for millions of years, it was the only thing standing between you and starvation. Eventually, we mastered fire. Roasting meat and tubers over hot coals acted as an external stomach. The heat broke down the tough cellular walls of plants and meat, meaning our organs no longer had to do hours of chemical work to extract calories. Cooking altered our anatomy. Digestion took less energy, so our gut shrank, freeing massive energy to rapidly expand the human brain. But today, that bigger brain, only 2% of your body weight, drains 20% of every calorie you consume. It constantly demands fuel. To keep that engine running, our ancestors climbed dangerous trees and endured hundreds of bee stings for a single prize, wild honey. It was the most concentrated source of carbohydrates they could find. The sugar in that honeycomb delivered a crucial 1-2 punch. It gave the brain a massive spike of instant energy to use right away, and it commanded the body to store whatever was left over as fat to survive the next famine. That same biological directive is firing in your head right now. Your brain cannot tell the difference between wild honey and a modern donut. Food conglomerates isolated that intense survival signal, manufactured it at scale, and packed it into almost every aisle of the grocery store. But our ancestors didn't stop at fresh meat and honey. When hunters took down an animal too large to finish, they buried the leftovers in cold streams or dark caves. Weeks later, they returned to meat that reeked of decay and was crawling with maggots. They ate it anyway. In fact, bacteria pre-digest tough muscle tissue, making rotting meat easier to chew and absorb. The bacterial breakdown even produces essential B vitamins that the human body desperately needs. That deep evolutionary tolerance for decay never left us. Sourdough bread, yogurt, beer, pickles, and cheese are controlled rot, slowed down, and made safe. Your modern love for sharp cheddar was forged 100,000 years ago on the savannah. However, the ancient menu also included items we try to forget. Inside Gough's cave in England, researchers found human remains dating back 14,000 years. The long bones of the arms and legs had been meticulously smashed open to extract the marrow, exactly like those antelope bones millions of years earlier. Skulls had been carefully scraped clean with stone tools and shaped into drinking cups. This chart shows the exact caloric breakdown of ancient food sources. A human body provides about 125,000 calories. That is a terrible return on effort compared to the 600,000 calories in a single bison or the 3 million calories in a mammoth. And Guff's cave was packed with those larger, more nutritious animals. With bison and horse remains littering the same cave, these humans chose each other. The zigzag patterns carved into their bones mark this behavior as a ritual, a symbolic act for a species that had already moved beyond eating for mere survival. Take a modern person, drop them into the world 50,000 years ago, and they would likely be dead within days. You wouldn't know how to track water. You couldn't tell toxic leaves from edible roots. You wouldn't have the brute physical strength to chase down an animal, scale a tree for a honeycomb, or crack open a dense thigh bone. You would starve to death surrounded by wild food. Now, imagine pulling one of those ancient ancestors forward in time and placing them in your kitchen. They would look at cold drinks sealed in aluminum, bread sitting safely on a shelf, and fruit flown in from continents away. To a mind built for scarcity, your kitchen is a god's pantry. For 3 million years, every human who walked the earth was hungry, cold, and exhausted. We are the first ones who aren't. Our late-night cravings for salt, fat, and sugar are just the surviving echoes of the ancestors who endured that brutal world so we wouldn't have to.